Midnight Romance Stories. Before tonight's story begins, what if the professor you admired years ago suddenly appeared back in your life? What if fate gave you a second chance at a connection you never thought was possible? And what if the secret he reveals at the end changes everything you thought you knew? Stay until the final chapter because a hidden truth from the past will finally come to light. Tonight's story is called Kiss Mark. My former professor fell in love with me after graduation. Red Heart. A heartwarming romance filled with second chances, sweet moments, emotional reunions, unexpected surprises, laughter, and a love story that proves timing can change everything. Chapter 1. The Unexpected Reunion. 5 years after graduation, 27-year-old Olivia Cruz was building her career as a graphic designer. Life was busy, predictable, until one rainy afternoon. While attending a business conference, she accidentally bumped into someone. Coffee spilled everywhere. Both stepped back. Both apologized. Then froze. Because standing in front of her was Professor Daniel Reyes, the professor who once taught one of her favorite university classes. Olivia. He smiled. And suddenly the years disappeared. Coffee and memories. To make up for the spilled coffee, Daniel invited Olivia to a nearby cafe. At first the conversation felt formal. Then comfortable. Then surprisingly fun. They talked about careers, dreams, travel, funny university memories. Olivia quickly realized something. Daniel was completely different outside the classroom. More relaxed, more humorous, more human. By the end of the afternoon, neither wanted the conversation to end. Chapter 3. The Second Meeting. A week later, Daniel sent a message. Would you like to grab dinner? Olivia stared at her phone, smiled, then said yes. The evening was filled with laughter. At one point, Daniel accidentally knocked over a glass of water. It splashed directly onto his own shirt. Olivia laughed so hard she nearly cried. Some things never change. Daniel shook his head. I was hoping you'd forget that part. Chapter 4. The Secret Admiration. As weeks passed, they spent more time together. One evening while walking through a city park, Daniel admitted something surprising. Do you remember your graduation speech? Olivia nodded. Of course. Daniel smiled. I still do. She looked shocked. You remember that? Every word. Olivia's heart skipped a beat. Because somehow, that meant more than she expected. Chapter 5. The Rainy Night. One evening, a sudden storm trapped them beneath a small shelter. The rain poured heavily. The city lights reflected across wet streets. For a few moments, neither spoke. Then Olivia admitted something. Back then, I always respected you. Daniel smiled softly. And I always believed you would do something amazing. The conversation became deeper, more personal, more meaningful. As thunder echoed in the distance, both realized something unexpected. This was no longer just friendship. Midnight Romance Stories. Part 2, Chapter 6 to 10. Previously, Olivia unexpectedly reunited with her former professor, Daniel Reyes, 5 years after graduation. What began as a simple conversation slowly turned into something deeper. But neither of them knew the biggest secret was still waiting to be revealed. Chapter 6. The Most Unexpected Hug. The following week, Olivia faced one of the most difficult moments of her career. A major project she had spent months preparing was suddenly rejected. She felt devastated, embarrassed, and completely discouraged. Without thinking, she called Daniel. Within 30 minutes, he arrived. No questions, no judgment, just concern. They sat together on a quiet park bench. Olivia tried to smile, but tears appeared instead. Daniel gently placed an arm around her shoulders, then pulled her into a warm hug. A safe hug, a comforting hug, the kind that makes you feel like everything will eventually be okay. For the first time that week, Olivia finally smiled. Chapter 7. The Funniest Date Ever. A few days later, Daniel invited Olivia to a cooking class. Neither of them expected disaster. Daniel accidentally used sugar instead of salt. Olivia dropped flour everywhere. A flying piece of dough somehow landed on Daniel's face. The entire class laughed. Even the instructor couldn't stop laughing. By the end of the evening, they had created the ugliest pizza in history. But neither cared. Because they hadn't laughed that hard in years. Sometimes the best memories aren't perfect. They're simply shared with the right person. Chapter 8. The secret he never told her. Remember the mystery from the beginning? The secret Daniel had carried for years? The answer finally arrived. One evening they sat together overlooking the city skyline. The stars sparkled above them. The moment felt perfect. Then Daniel took a deep breath. There is something I've wanted to tell you. Olivia looked nervous. Daniel smiled softly. After graduation I followed your career. She blinked. What? I saw your designs online. I read your interviews. I celebrated every success. Olivia stared in surprise. For years, Daniel quietly admired the woman she became. Not as a professor, not as a mentor, but as someone who genuinely cared. And that truth changed everything. Chapter 9. The Confession. The next evening, Daniel invited Olivia to dinner. The atmosphere felt different. More serious. More meaningful. Halfway through the meal, Daniel placed his fork down. Then looked directly into her eyes. Olivia. His voice softened. When we first met again, I thought it would simply be nice to catch up. He smiled. But every conversation made me admire you more. Every moment made me want to spend more time with you. Olivia's heart raced. Daniel continued. I think I've fallen in love with you. For a second the world seemed to stop. Then Olivia smiled. The biggest smile he had ever seen. Good. Daniel blinked. Good. Olivia laughed. Because I fell in love with you too. Chapter 10. Forever starts here. 1 year later. Friends and family gathered in a beautiful garden filled with flowers. Music played softly. Laughter filled the air. And standing beneath a decorated archway was Daniel. Waiting. Smiling. A few moments later Olivia appeared. More beautiful than ever. As she walked toward him, Daniel couldn't stop smiling. When she finally reached him, he took her hands. Then whispered softly, "Thank you for walking back into my life." Tears appeared in Olivia's eyes. "And thank you for never giving up on fate." The guests smiled. The ceremony began. And as the sun set behind them, two people who met years ago in a classroom finally found their way to forever. Sometimes love isn't about timing. Sometimes it's about meeting the right person. At the right moment. Thank you for listening. Red Heart, thank you for listening to Midnight Romance Stories. If the story made you smile, laugh, cry, or believe in second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Speech balloon comment below. Do you believe in meeting the right person at the wrong time? And finding them again later? Red Heart, yes. Broken Heart, no. And what was your favorite moment? Hugging face, the comforting hug. Pizza, the cooking disaster. Red Heart, the confession. Ring, the wedding day. Globe showing Europe, Africa. Also tell us. Where are you watching from? What time is it in your country right now? Until next time. Sweet dreams, and we'll see you in the next Midnight Romance story.